cartoons showing me a very small boy try to fight a very huge elephant, written corruption. But I want to assure you one thing. There was a time I was watching National Geographic and I saw the safari ants attacking a snake and killing it. So I'll be a safari ant together with Kinoti Nurdin, and we shall kill that snake called corruption. Let me take you through the issue of corruption. Corruption is a white-collar crime. It's the whitest. They say, I've talked about it, it's the only crime on earth that has got no complainant. Umepeana, umechukua, unafunga zip. Nobody wants to talk about it. But then, I want to come back to the public, the private sector, and all other entities. It is very easy to distinguish, to observe that corruption is taking place. Much easier than identifying terrorists. There's something called lifestyle audit. Lifestyle audit should not be done by EACC. We don't have the capacity. If you want to do lifestyle audit to 45 million Kenyans, it means we need 45 million staff at the KCC, which is impossible. But there's a very easy way of doing lifestyle audit. When we take the oath, most of us, when we take the oath, we are slim, thin, and then the same guy, after 1 year, you find he has a huge neck, you see many cars, you don't need to use too much brain, you just know there's something going on. So you are the people who will do the lifestyle audit. During Sarkozy's time in France, he took a finance minister from the university. Within 1 year, that minister bought a very expensive flat in the posh area of Paris. For those of us who speak French, it's not Paris, it's Paris. So, he was under pressure. How did you get money to buy this expensive flat? And we know 1 year ago, you used to be in a lecture hall. He was pushed and resigned. That is the kind of accountability we want in this country. That when that guy brags he's becoming rich, if he's a governor, if it is Major Mbarak, if it is a minister, whoever, we should be able to raise a red flag that there's something wrong with this fellow. Can he go to Strathmore Business School or University of Nairobi School of Business to give tips how to make money in such a quick way? Instead of having a lecturer teaching you for 2 years to come out with an MBA. Very fast way. He explains how he became rich. All of a sudden, when we do that, nobody will be rushing to die for certain state position. You remember very well when the 2010 Constitution came in place, I was told by another lawyer I should not call it new Constitution. There's nothing called new. It is the Constitution in place. When you say new, it means there are two operating, an old one and a new one. So when it was in place, people went for certain seats in the governance structure. After 5 years, people knew which seats were the best for eating. And everybody rushed there. By all means, I want to take this seat, because if I take this seat, it means I'm sitting on money, and I will eat that money. We want to make sure that that does not become the pattern, so that people serve these big positions, service to the people. Not service to my stomach. On the issue of the process of fighting corruption, I've been seeing a lot of people, Major, tunakuonea huruma, hii kazi ngumu. So I just look at them, I say, why is it ngumu? Kwa barua mingi sana hapa. Hii kazi hapana ngumu. Hii kazi ni rahisi. As long as the chain of fighting corruption is effective. We cannot take corruption cases, then we are told there's a restraint. You should have told him that you are going to search him. How do you go to a thief? Ati unaenda kwa alati, unaenda kumwangalia, ati mimi nakuja kuangalia, panga, next week nakuja. He will hide everything. How do you move? I had worked with Anti-Corruption Commission before, 2006, 2010. At that time, we got hold of a case. You all know it. Hii mambo makaburi. It was just starting. I left the company 2010. I am back this year. That case was concluded 1.5 years ago. After 7.5 years is when that case was concluded. And there was nothing like a hopeless case, useless evidence, everything was there. Now, how do we achieve deterrence? Because they say crime operates under 3 corners. Kinoti will tell you. There's what you call opportunity. When you leave an opportunity for corruption, it will take place. There's a reward. Hii nikiiba, nitapata hii. Intent, a very difficult thing. You've hired an accountant, you've hired a professional, lakini mwizi. When he was in primary, he used to steal geometry set, rubber. He has grown into that system. And this one, when you are interviewing these people, you don't get it. Because our system of recruitment in Kenya is based on education and skills. We don't look at social traits. Hii mtu labda mahali amelelewa ni wizi tupu. So he comes in a suit and he loots billions, and you put entire citizen in the country. There is no medication. You hear mama alikufa. She could not deliver because there was no ambulance to take her to the nearest clinic. And here you're bragging in Nairobi with big cars. And we say, this guy is a good man. They come do fundraising for us, whether it's a place of worship, schools, matanga, and we say, this is a good man. Then you say, EACC does not work. Judiciary does not work. DCI does not work. You are the first troops in the war against corruption. And we need your support. Start despising corruption from the ground up to the top level. So we look forward to have more other players who will come and join in the war against corruption. We are very pleased with the private sector, because it is in the private sector and the government that the economy revolves. They say when the government cuts budget, the business sector goes haywire a little bit because the government is the biggest spender. But what happens? People bid, entrepreneurs come in, they have given you all the documents, audited accounts are fake, and we have a body in the accounting section that is supposed to regulate this kind of malpractice. You have people, when they want business, they show they have very high income so that they can win business. When KRA goes for their taxes, they say we are poor people, we don't have money. And they provide fake annual returns. So what we are saying now, you do the fake annual returns. I will not waste time to investigate a case for 6 months. I will tell Kinoti, hii ni fraud, funga hii mtu. So generally, this is my first address in a big gathering, and I don't know what is the score. But what we are saying is that we work very well as multi-agency team under the leadership of the Attorney General, but we have issues. We have issues with the public, we have issues with the judiciary, we have issues, and it's not a blame game. We need to do something, to make sure that this fight is won. Thank you very much.